Yeah. Are you ready
I'm
to
ready to
start?
go. Yep.
Okay. Well, yeah. Actually, we had to do the one against the scary Russian opponent.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always scary to look at the cross table and see that
Yeah.
you're up against a Russian.
Yeah, and he was I think he was unrated. I believe he was unrated, but he had a FIDE rating. So I didn't know what to expect. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, Actually, this game went very smooth
Yeah,
for
yeah,
you.
yeah.
Uh,
And I remember why too. It's he played B3, which I thought was insane.
Yeah, D3 combined with
No,
B3 and a
B3,
bishop on C4.
B3.
Yeah, he played D3 and then
Yo,
B3. Yeah,
yeah,
D3 and B3 don't go together, especially with the
yeah,
bishop on C4.
yeah.
He actually employed an opening that you see online a lot. Everybody plays E4, knight F3, and bishop C4, even though it's not that threatening, especially when you play E6 and afterwards you go D5 at some point. Bishop E7, knight C3, you castle, and well, he played knight E2, which is it's a bad symptom. The problem is that his pieces are not so well coordinated. Well, you might have seen this a lot in your games online because everybody plays this kind of stuff with bishop c4 and d3, but at some point it's difficult to coordinate white's pieces. So this 92 is reasonable. What do you think he should be doing after this 92? What's the idea behind that? Even though your opponent play anything else afterwards.
Well, I thought he was trying to remaneuver it to G3, possibly to F4, um, and then open up the center. That was like D4 or C3 D4.
Yeah, C3 D4 has to be the idea in the long run. Because if he goes D4, then it's just going to be if he goes D4 directly without playing C3 first, it's just going to be a bad open Sicilian for him. For example, if he goes knight G3 to have the pawn on E4
Yeah,
defending and then play D4, then
yeah,
it's just an open Sicilian with many misplaced pieces, especially that knight on G3 that has nothing
yeah.
to
And
do
it
there.
took him 3 moves to go there.
Yeah, yeah, that doesn't make sense at all. So C3 and D4 has to be his idea.
Yeah.
Even though it's difficult.
Normally when I face online like the bishop C4, it's very rare that I'll see a D3. Usually they will immediately open up, but it's like D4. They'll trade in the center. I almost never see bishop C4 and a D3 online.
Yeah, it makes the bishop just awkward. And the rest of the pieces have nothing to do. Actually, if you don't play knight e2 and you want to think about an alternative, maybe bishop f4, but it's not at all clear what white's pieces are doing. And you have this d5, which is going to come very soon after you finish development, probably. It's important not to hurry to play d5 because well, you're not in a hurry to play that, and it might play into white's hands if you do it unprepared because you open the file. And it's good that you just castle and brought your pieces out, and then you started to worry about if you're going to play a6, b5, or d5. Actually, I think you did very well in this game. Knight e2, knight c6, perfect. b3. That's
Yeah,
strange to say the least.
yeah. I don't know. I was very happy when I saw it.
And he's actually lucky that he's not losing the bishop right away because it's an awful move. A6, perfectly reasonable. D4, well, now he's just hanging a pawn on E4. You took it. As Ninsovi said, if you see that you can capture a central pawn and there's no immediate refutation, then you should go for it. And you went for it. He takes C5. d5, very good move. You're not compromising your structure by playing d takes c5. Well, it's not such a big compromise, but d5 is stronger. Your knight is now a beast. Bishop d3, knight takes c5, very good, because now in any case you can just trade this bishop. Knight g3, bishop f6, rook b1, knight b4, which I really, really liked.
Yeah. I thought for a long time on this move. Because
Yeah.
because I was already ahead. Like I'm already very happy. I'm up a pawn and my position is pretty good. But I thought there's it really looked like there's like something I may be able to do over here. It just looked, just sometimes you get that sense that there might be kind of a tactic, or you just feel like you can pounce. There might be a chance to pounce, and so I really thought long here. Although I didn't come up with, I couldn't find a concrete tactic where I'm like winning material or anything. But I thought I at the very least I'm putting pressure on my opponent.
Yeah, and I really like that you didn't get scared about all his pieces looking at your king, because actually nothing is going on.
I thought his queen
I
was
mean,
not so greatly placed.
yeah, it's not easy to bring the queen to the attack. In any case, you're playing knight takes d3, and that pretty much ends the attack right there. Knight b4, it looks strong. You're actually threatening to take on e2 and then going to c3, so that's not that's kind of a big threat. And also you're threatening to take on d3 and ruining his structure even further, because he then is going to get a part of having of being a pawn down, he's just going to have another weakness on d3. The pawn is isolated, so yeah, this is just winning. A4, and I really like that you play knight a2 either way, because he can't stop that. He can stop knight c3, and he did the only thing he could do, actually. Bishop d2. He could play queen e1, but that's too artificial. You're going to play knight c3 either way, and then you're going to take on d3. And yeah, you have all the trumps in this position. You actually got the bishop pair by this neat sequence of moves. So now you are a pawn up, central pawn up, and you have the bishop pair. So yeah, this is not going to last. Bishop b4, great. Before he plays b4, you were worried about this?
I can't remember exactly, but I thought it was just a good spot for the bishop anyway.
Yeah, it looks like you saw it, because it might be a threat. Knight e5, you just push him back, that's good. Knight d3, bishop d6. Well, and at some point, with your bishops behind your pawns, you can start just rolling your central pawn mass. It's going to be inevitable at some point. Queen b6, threatening d4, knight e2. Well, he had to defend it somehow, and taking the knight from d3 doesn't look good. So knight e2, bishop d7. It's funny that the computer says this is an inaccuracy. I mean, come on, it can't be that bad. It suggests e5 right away. It's true, you can play e5 right now, and it looks like there's no way to put pressure on d5, and you're getting to play bishop f5. But okay, bishop d7 is still very superior for you, so I don't see that much of a difference. What do you think he should have played here?
Well, I don't know what he did play. What he should play.
He played knight df4. That's what he actually did in the game.
I don't know. It's hard to come up with a good move. I was just almost looking F4. Almost looks interesting. Maybe slowing down a potential E5 push.
F4. It actually doesn't prevent E5 because of the pin. You can play E5 either way. And might be stronger because your pawn is going to E4 and it's going to be passed. It's going to be supported.
Knight C3 is going to drop the pawn. I was just looking at it because that's a possible way to prevent or possibly prevent E5 because it'll be hanging this pawn, but this will be undefended. I don't know. I'm having a little bit of trouble finding a move for white.
Yeah, it's not pleasant for white, but as you see, you're trying to get some squares for the knights. And if the knights don't have good squares near the center, then they are pretty much useless. And you don't have E5. Going to F4 like he did in the game, well, that's completely useless. I mean, it's so easy to defend the pawn on E6. So maybe B4 was the move for him. Intending to play knight C5. It's not going to be quality. I mean, he's a pawn down and you still have the pair of bishops. But at least he's trying to get some squares for his
Yeah,
knights.
no, that definitely looks good.
At least it's a try. It gives you something to think about, I guess.
My plan with bishop d7 was to kind of open up the rook on a8 and kind of gain control of the c file. So if white did play b4 here, my initial instinct would be to continue with that and gain control of the c and possibly e file.
Rook ac8 then. Yeah, you still have to face knight c5, which is going to be his next move. Pretty much irrespective of what you play here, I guess he has to go for that knight c5. So, well, now in your turn, you should try to find a plan around this knight c5, which is coming either way. If you go rook ac8, I don't know about that because knight c5, then he's hitting the bishop and you don't have a good place for that bishop, I guess.
I was thinking possibly I could take here. What do you think about that?
Oh, you wanted to just chop on c5.
I thought being a pawn up, I might be able to maneuver around this.
You might get away with it, but I'm not liking it. After b takes, I'm a little bit worried about this. You have to defend, I guess. Queen c7, maybe? Well, Queen c7 actually prevents knight f4, which now comes with a threat on e6, actually. Well, I see some compensation for white here, which I didn't see before. It's in the form of some control. Oh, I don't know.
What about rook b6?
rook b6, that
Yeah.
might be better because I was dropping the pawn on a4. Yeah, rook b6 looks strong, actually. Yeah, he might have some compensation here. I don't think he's better, and
But
it
yeah,
could be worse.
but B4 would have definitely been a really good try by White for sure.
Yeah, it was more constructive. At least he's trying to get some pieces for his knights. Some pieces, I'm sorry, some squares for his knight near the center. And I was thinking how to counter this, and I would really like to um, answer knight c5 with bishop c8, which looks odd, but from c8 the bishop defends b7 and e6. So maybe something like rook a d8. So when he plays knight c5, you get to play bishop c8, and that might be a solution.
What about possibly rook a e8, and then we can put the bishop on c6 maybe?
We still don't get to put the bishop on c6 because the pawn is
Because he can just move the knight somewhere.
I'm sorry, you're right. Rook a e8.
Yeah. Okay, and then possibly here.
Knight c5.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be. It could be another solution. I don't know about that bishop on c6.
Yeah, because maybe he can just go like here.
Yeah, or queen d, even queen d3 threatening b5. Yeah, it's difficult to assess actually. I don't mind the bishop on c8 either because it looks like it's passive, but once the rook is not trapped on a8, then it's not that problematic
Yeah.
to have the bishop on its initial square. It's actually kind of developed if it's useful. As long as your rook are connected, then you're going to be fine.
Yeah.
The bishop on c6 has its advantages because you're defending the pawn on d5, so e5 might be possible more quickly, but you also have to be careful with b5, which might work right now, now that I'm seeing this. Oh, this is dangerous. I didn't consider this. Because what happens if a takes b5? There seems to be something there.
If you take on a takes b5,
Takes b, a takes b. It seems like you're dropping some material. You can go back to e7. If you take on c5, he's going to take d takes c5, and then your bishop is falling. You're going to have a lot of pawns for the piece, but that's actually not the idea. And if bishop takes, then
knight
you have
c3.
knight c3, and you're dropping a piece. Yeah, the bishop on c6 seems to be a bit awkward here. Yeah, c8 might be the best square for the bishop. It's actually kind of dominating the knight. In that case, I like the rook on d8 because the pawn is going to be defended on d5 when you finally push e5.
Man, that b4 move is so strong.
Yeah, it's annoying because well, you are in a mood where you're pawn up,
Yeah,
you're supposed
bishop
to be better,
pair.
and
Yeah.
yeah, it all seems to be going your way, and suddenly you have to find some strong moves. Knight c5. I like this idea. Bishop c8, and then now you just have to be patient. You can go bishop b8, queen d6, mountain battery, and then e5. At some point, you're going to be able to play e5. It's just going to take time and patience by black. But you're still much, much better, of course. You're pawn up, and you have those big bishops. So you have to look at it this way. When you play e5 successfully, you're going to be much closer to winning this. But now you have to buckle up for a couple of moves because the knight on c5 is a good piece. There's nothing to do about that. But actually, you can play around that knight with a little bit of care. So it wasn't the end of the world, but it actually gave some problems for black. It's not so straightforward as it was in the game because, I'm sorry, in this position he played knight tf4. Well, we talked a lot about the knights which are not well supported near the center. If you can just drive them back at some point, then he's going to be in a lot of trouble. If you don't have a good defended knight near the center, then the bishops will always prevail. Bishop b4, that's strong. He has to go back to f1.
Yeah, I thought that would have been very annoying for him.
Yeah, it's a tough move to make. I mean, he doesn't have an option, but it's horrible. Rook a8. Well, it's never easy to go back, but he had to play knight e3. The knight is doing absolutely nothing on f4. It has no perspectives whatsoever. I mean, your pawns are just so solid. He has no way to put additional pressure over them. So, well, but he was stubborn. He played queen d3. It's understandable. No one wants to admit their mistakes, and just go back. So, well, queen d3. Rook c7. This is not an inaccuracy. I beg to differ with Stockfish or whatever. I mean, come on, G5 is what the computer suggests. Don't listen to the computer. A human being shouldn't be doing this kind
I
of
thought it
stuff.
was kind of yeah, I remember looking at this with when I was analyzing it. I thought it seemed like an unnecessary risk. Like, you know.
Yeah, if you're not Stockfish or Carlsen or something like you shouldn't be playing G5 here. It's so unnecessary. I wouldn't go for that. Rook c7 is much more restrained, but you're not risking anything. Knight h5, it says it's an inaccuracy, of course, because that knight on its own is not going to get anything. And bishop b8 is, well, it comes with very good timing because bishop
Yeah.
g6 is just...
Yeah.
I guess he had to play something like queen h3, queen f3, just to avoid hanging everything here, but he went for knight e g3, bishop g6, and now it's pretty much over. Well, there's not much to say about this position. Now, knight h4, yeah, g5, you are winning material, so it makes more sense. I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
No, I was. It's coming up in a couple moves I remembered. There was a move I was
Okay.
considering. Yeah.
Knight e3.
Oh, it might be. It might have even. It possibly. Wait, sorry. Was it now? It might have been now. It might have been the next move. But I think I was taking a look at Rook c3. And I was, but it might have been later when I was looking at it. Because it kind of seemed silly to give, to not allow bishop g6 anymore. So maybe it was later.
Yeah, it has a point either way because the pawn on d4 is falling, and that's an important pawn. I mean, if the pawn on d4 falls, then your pawns are just going to roll, and he isn't getting anywhere with those knights either way. They might be a tactical weakness, so rook c3 might have a point to it. I would play bishop g6 either way because it's just so crystal clear that you're winning the exchange, and he has no compensation. And this...
Oh, sorry. Maybe it was here. Maybe it was here that I was considering rook c3.
Before taking
Yeah.
on b1. It might even transpose because I guess you're going to take the exchange anyway. Yeah,
I think I decided I didn't really that the queen wasn't any worse on f4 than it is on e3, so I just ended up taking the rook. I didn't
yeah,
see
I
I
think
didn't
it's a good decision.
yeah I didn't really see a benefit to having it here.
Uh,
But I was looking at like this, and then bishop here. I was looking at I was just looking at a few different.
you were calculating some
Yeah,
stuff
I was
before.
just trying to improve. I was trying to play, Alekhine's. If you find a good move, look for a better one. I was just trying to really
Uh,
hammer down, but
Yeah, that's okay. Either way, I like that you didn't play Rook C3 because the Rook is doing a very good job defending the second rank. So pushing his queen nearer your king
mm.
uh, maybe doesn't make much sense. And Bishop takes B1. It's it's clear. It's a clear move. It's a clear winning move. Played Rook C3 anyway, which is fine because you saw the follow up. Knight. Well, I'm sorry, Queen F4, and you remember what you played now? You just killed any kind of hope for counterplay that he could still have.
I can't remember. It might have been bishop d6.
Actually, you did better than that because Bishop D6, Queen G4, he's hitting his seats,
Yeah,
G7. Uh,
I remember the position, but I can't remember what I played. Oh wait. It's possible I played queen c7.
Yeah, yeah, that's good technique. I mean, if the queens go out of the board, then he's just lost, and he doesn't have any hope of complicating the game. He needs to keep the queens and well, hope for you um, to hang something or to mount some kind of desperate attack. But no, he's not going to get it. He's just well, he's forced to exchange. If queen d2, then you have rook takes b3, which is just too strong. And yeah, if he doesn't trade queens, then rook c1 is a threat also. So yeah, he has to accept the exchange. Well, he actually played rook e1, which I don't understand, especially
Yeah,
because of this. Well, he wanted to have something against that pawn on his seats after the exchange, but you actually kill the game right here. Queen takes, knight takes g3, and you bag another piece.
yeah.
Well, it all ended very quickly here. Oh well, I guess he put the rook on e7 and noticed that you were going to take.
Yeah. I um I I almost wonder if he did it on purpose, but
Yeah.
well, you know what I mean? Because sometimes online people will, if they're losing, maybe they'll pretend that they blundered and that's the reason they lost. You know what I mean? I don't think he
Oh my
actually.
god.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure. I don't think he actually intended that on purpose, but um,
It happens.
but when he did it, can you just move forward again? I can't move forward.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Rook d8.
and then his move when he did it, then he went kind of like, oh, as you know, as if it was an even game before that. You know what I mean? I actually a lot of people do that. I've noticed at my level online. Like I'll be winning like easily, and then they'll blunder a piece and be like, oh, as if you know.
Oh, now I'm losing.
Yeah, yeah. Now I'm losing. Yeah.
Oh my god.
So that was that. Oh yeah, of the tournament, that was the easiest game I had. Basically, because of that early B3, made it a pretty easy game. So I felt kind of good after that game because this was round 3, and the first 2 rounds were pretty tough games.
Yeah, yeah, you won it from the beginning to the end. You didn't face any trouble. His only chance for some counterplay, it wasn't an even game, but his only chance for counterplay was playing b4 and knight c5 and see what happens. But you still have many ways to play around that knight on c5, so he's never equal at any point. And you exploited his weaknesses very well. I really like that you played knight b4 and created a lot of problems right away. You didn't let him just gather any kind of initiative on the king side or anything like that. So yeah, it was a good game. I like the way it was. Very very clear win. And this one against Dennis Hack, was it?
Don Hack.
Don Hack.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
He's an older, a much older player, but he was very, very friendly. And after the game, we analyzed the game together. And at this, you know, whenever he would see me down the hallway, he would always wish me good luck and ask me how I'm doing. He's a very, very friendly older guy.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the old guard. Polite chess players are usually the eldest. Before C6, well, this game was actually very interesting. B takes, knight takes, well, Caro-Kann, bishop f5, knight g3. I guess this is called
did he play h5? I'm trying to remember.
Yeah. Yeah, he played h5, which is not good. What do you think is the problem with?
Well, I've seen this before. I'm aware of h5. It's playable. Like it's not like a blunder, but it's definitely not Black's best option. I think I recently, because I had this in an online game recently, and I analyzed it very deeply. I think my reply in the future might actually be c3 instead of knight f3. But yeah. So but h.
What?
Yeah, I think c3 is my new repertoire move here. I'd have to double check, but.
What's the point of c3 instead of knight f3?
Well, in a lot of cases they will transpose. I don't know the exact reason, but I remember I ran Stockfish 11 on it overnight for like 11 hours to like depth like 48.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah. Still, if you don't have, I mean, if even though Stockfish says c3 is a good move in a very, very, very deep analysis, you should know the point why you're playing c3 instead of knight f3. I mean, it's a playable move, but even though Stockfish says it's good, it's very tough to tell what the difference is, and it's important to work on what that difference might be. I'm thinking, well, just thinking aloud, maybe we are not playing knight f3 because we want to go knight h3 and knight f4.
Oh, that is it. That's it. You got it. That's what it is. I remember now. So that's exactly what it is. So good job. It's c3. I remember, and that because I just have the next two moves. That's what I put in my repertoire. So it's c3, and then I think pretty much whatever black does, you play knight h3, and then I realized the point of knight h3 is to put it on f4, just as you say. Although
that's one problem.
I don't quite
With the
understand the move order. Probably doesn't matter so much. Like I think you can probably just play knight h3.
Yeah, that's what I think. I mean, maybe you can avoid playing c3 right away. And knight h3 actually is threatening knight f4.
Yeah,
That's one problem with it.
because there's a lot of because there's a lot of weaknesses now. Especially this g6 bishop is kind of a very weak point. These kind of a weak link, and so yeah, this knight f4 really puts a lot of problems to black.
That's a problem of playing h5.
Yeah.
You don't get to play bishop h7, and that's that. When you play h6, you can always go bishop h7, and you don't have additional weaknesses. Here you have the pawn on h5 to worry about. So knight f5, f4, I'm sorry, actually hits the bishop, and you can just go back because you lose the pawn, and you have many additional weaknesses like g5 in the future. So yeah, knight h3 looks interesting. c3 followed by the same maneuver might be another good idea. I know we all tend to trust Stockfish, and it's a good idea because it's just so strong. But sometimes it makes very cryptic suggestions like c3, which, well, for us humans, it's difficult to know the difference of playing c3 first or playing knight h3, knight f4 right away, if that's the idea. I'm not saying that C3 is bad or anything like that. It's just difficult to understand what we are trying to achieve. Maybe we want to have the pawn on D4 better defended. It might show up in some variation in the future that it's important to have the pawn on C3, but yeah, maybe we introduce the possibility of playing Queen B3 at some point. I don't know about that. Well, in that case, we have to look at the concrete variations the computer suggests. But either way, you have many ideas against this bishop on g6. The usual move is h6. Well, black doesn't so many problems with the bishop because now you can play bishop h7 without any difficulties. This is actually my line. Well, bishop d3 is one possibility. Many people play h5 first and then goes bishop d3, but they are both possible.
Oh, right.
It's kind of.
I didn't play h5.
Well, he played h5.
I know, but I didn't play h5 there. I played bishop d3.
In the game.
Yeah.
h4. It was.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, and now you play knight f3 first. Well, knight e5 is a threat. If he goes knight f6, then knight e5 is, well, it's very nasty because he has to move the bishop. He can't allow knight takes g6 because that will ruin his structure. Not only it will ruin his structure, but his king will be very weakened. So knight d7 is pretty much the only move. Bishop d3, fine. You make him spend the tempo on its changing, and knight gf6. What do you think about this position?
Well, I'm somewhat experienced with Sakaro Khan, so this is, excuse me, this is pretty much exactly like a normal Karo Khan, except the pawn is on h5 instead of h6. So I'm used to this type of setup, and then usually. Like often there's a pawn on e6 which is coming forth, and then white can often either put the bishop on e2 or f4. And I spent a long time realizing why one is better than the other, and it's basically because of I watched a video by what's that American player, American GM. He hasn't been doing well lately. He broke his arm. What's his name?
American player.
He
that
won
broke
the
his
he's
arm.
like he won the U.S. championship.
Shanglam?
Yes, yeah, Shankland. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I watched the video by Shankland, and it's basically because sometimes you put the bishop on f4, sometimes on e2 or d2, but it basically depends if the pawn is on e6, black can play, black can give a queen a5 check, and if your bishop, sorry,
Yeah, actually, yeah, I'm sorry. That if I check, uh, you go back, for example, and then I think queen a4
no, but
is
this is
kind of
well.
annoying.
What I was going to say is, if the pawn is on e6, this is when it depends if you can put it on f4 or d2. Because
Oh,
if the pawn is here, then black has bishop b4,
you
and
have that
yeah,
bishop.
yeah. And Shanklin says, and if like, and he says c3 is no good. Like, for example, whoops. So if the pawn was here,
Yeah,
yeah, if bishop b4, he says c3 is no good because he says now you can't castle queenside. He says that's very weakening.
yeah,
So
exactly. You can touch these
yeah,
pawns. You should, yeah.
whoops, and that's why
Uh,
and in the game I played bishop f4, right?
yeah, you played bishop d2, actually.
Oh, I did.
Yeah, you could play bishop f4, but actually he
Oh no,
didn't
no, I
give
was
this
scared. Of, I was scared of this. I was scared of knight
out
d5.
95.
Yeah,
Yeah, this is another idea. Queen a2 and queen a4. Now that you don't have bishop b4, this queen a4 sometimes a little annoying because it can't just castle because of the pawn on h. And it's not that easy to just start pushing the queen because you create a lot of weaknesses. For example, b3, queen a3. And you're not going to trap that queen. He's actually provoking you to start pushing your pawns forward. And meanwhile, the queen is actually very annoying because you can castle queenside. And that's another idea of queen a5. Uh, I saw an international master from Argentina, Guillermo Sope, that won many games with this. I don't know if this was the exact variation. Well, it actually wasn't because the pawn is on h5, which doesn't make sense. But this I saw him play this idea many times. Queen a5, queen a4. And it's not easy for white to do something about that. Oh, I guess bishop d2 is I don't dislike it. And you're right, he also could play knight 5 at some point. Uh,
I spent a lot of my time kind of around this area. And I really wanted to play bishop f4 because it also stops, queen c7, which is,
it looks more active, yeah.
yeah. And then also I was considering c4, which sometimes you can play in the Caro-Kann, I believe, and then like castling kingside, but I felt a little bit, I was a little bit scared about playing c4. Also, in that Shanklin video about the Caro-Kann, I learned that one of the black's main ideas is to eventually push the c pawn. That's going to be pushed. So I was considering c4 because I didn't like this knight possibly getting into there. So I was really looking between this and bishop d2 and c4, but I ended up going with bishop d2.
Yeah, I think it's good. I mean, bishop d2. This is a normal Caro-Kann, but with the pawn on h5. That
Yeah,
means you have the additional possibility of going knight g5, for example.
yeah,
Hitting here on f7, which is this well, this is a theme in common with your game against Nicolas Page Chang. Was the Scandinavian?
yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
it's very similar. It's very similar. And at some point, you could play a knight e5 or knight g5, and you have him kind of tied down to the defense of the pawn on f7. With a knight on g5, he can't just go queenside castle. It could be very annoying for him to deal with that. You're right. His idea is to finally push c5. he's not prepared yet to do that. Still has to get his pieces out. But this tiny difference that he played h5 instead of h6 actually restricts his options a lot. He can't just go kingside castling. Most of the time, he's not going to castle kingside. And if he wants to castle queenside, then he has this problem with the pawn f7. Uh, Actually, you see the structure in abstract, and you think, well, I have g5, but he also could put a knight on g4 then. But the thing is that you actually own more space, and you actually are the one with the initiative. So it's more likely that you're going to get the upper hand because of these reciprocal weaknesses. And that's actually the case. You had some opportunities during the game regarding this problem of the pawn on h5. So yeah, bishop d2 and queenside castling, I think it was a very sound decision. He still has to play e6 when his piece is not so. You castle. I like this plan a lot better than c4 actually, because with c4, yeah, you could still castle queenside and play king b1, but it's not necessary at this point. At least it's not necessary.
Yeah. Plus, I was still just playing. I was just playing the carol, the carol as if black had played on h6. Like because I know this. I know the ideas here. I know that
Yeah.
I know that next you kind of trade this knight for this knight. Sorry, well, kind of, because this this takes and this comes back here, and then the queen can either go to e2 or d3. I kind of knew this type of idea, so I decided to just play what I knew.
Well, that's a sound decision because it's the same position but with an additional weakness for black. So that should favor you. He played bishop d, and well, you carried out the idea you just mentioned with knight e4, which I actually didn't like here. Um, I know it's the way to go in the normal position, but the problem is that in this case, you can do better than that. You're still going to be better. It's going to be more pleasant to play with white. But
I
with
think
94, yeah.
I think I put a lot of time into, because this looked a little bit weak. I think I put a lot of time into doing something with these knights, like knight g5, and possibly sacking here. I was really looking for some type of tactic, but like I spent a long time here, and I didn't really see any tactic that seemed to force that could be a forced tactic. So in the end, I went with this, and I thought that, I guess my my thinking was that black hasn't castled yet, and it's going to be awkward if he castled king side. So I thought if I traded off the knights, I thought that I still have kind of a lead in development and initiative. So that I don't know. That was my thought process, anyways.
Yeah, yeah, it's okay. I mean, you employed an idea that you already knew. This one is 94. In this case, it actually kind of a relief for him because he gets to play in a similar way to the main variation that you just mentioned. Knight f6, the game continued queen e2, queen c6, and yeah, you're a bit better here, no question about it. But the thing is, you could at this point you could take advantage of the fact that he played h5. The move you were trying to calculate here, knight g5, is actually good, even though you're of course not winning by force because well, you don't have enough pieces for that at this point, pointing towards that. But it's very annoying.
And the
I know
knight,
you were looking for a tactic, but even though there's no immediate tactic, it's difficult to figure out how he's going to castle. I'm sorry, the knight.
I was just going to say, and it's impossible for him to kick out that knight. It's there forever.
Yeah, and it's actually a strong piece. I know we always tend to look at a move like knight g5 like a temporary thing. We think, yeah, we have to take the knight away from that square at some point, but here uh, it's very well supported by the pawn h4, and there's no way of kicking it out. As you say, f6 is not going to be possible anytime soon. Um, Actually has a very restrictive function here because he's not going to be able to castle. It's similar to that game against Nicolas Pei-Chang. In that case, we looked at a knight e5, which was very annoying in the same sense that knight g5 is annoying here. And yeah, at some point, I guess he has to part with this bishop because then you're going to threaten things. For example, if he goes, I don't know, queen. Let's say he wants to play queen e7 because he wants to just cast queen side. What do you play here?
Rook e1 still looks dangerous to me.
Yeah, you're threatening knight f5 right away, so he can't just cast. At some point, it looks like he's going to have to give away his dark squared bishop, but then with this structure, with all the pawns, it looks very dangerous for him to part with that bishop. Now you have a very stable advantage, and this is looking very good for you. Castling queenside still looks very dangerous to me, especially if white keeps this dark squared bishop. So um, knight g5 puts so much pressure on his position that he might have to play bishop takes g3 at some point, and that would be a very good result for you. You're actually taking advantage of square on g5 very, very fast, and he can claim the same of the square on g4. Yeah, maybe with knight g5 you could get the upper hand. There are other ways of trying to defuse this with black, but for example, queen c7, you can just ignore takes g3 because in any case, well, you're threatening a knight f5, for example, again. So let's say he takes, you take, and then you have bishop f4, and even though your pawns are kind of weakened, your pawn structure is a little ruined, your dark square bishop is monster. This is all very tough to face for black. So yeah, knight g5. Your instinct was right. Knight g5 is a strong move, even though there's no immediate tactic. Sometimes you're just not going to be able to blow your opponent out of the board with a move like that. But it has strategic. With I'm sorry, knight g5. Um, it's actually a move that prevents development from your opponent. It's just so tough to castle here that I don't see a way that's going to happen. 94 sort of comes as a relief. You're still better, but well, he has the opportunity to untangle a bit and get a more normal kind of position. What are your thoughts on this?
I don't have a lot of thoughts. I think during the game I was thinking that black is kind of slowly slipping out or quickly slipping out of the problems that I think he was in maybe 5 moves ago. And I did burn a lot of time on about 4 moves. So I was actually the time that I spent wasn't really paying off. I might have been contemplating here still knight g5 and rook e1 because there's still some tactics to be had. But I was really thinking that black is going to castle queenside as soon as possible. Can't remember
Yeah,
what I
now
played
he
though.
gets to cast. Well, that's a good sign that you were employing a lot of time uh, in these moves before knight e4 and then during the net. Because even though you didn't find knight 5 or you didn't choose it in the end, you were sensing that there could be something, that it
Yeah.
was an important moment in the transition from the opening to the middle game. So that's important. I would take it as a good sign. Maybe I mean, if you told me no, I just played this because I thought it was the right move order or whatever, or it was the right plan and didn't even consider knight g5, then it would be a clear mistake. But if you tell me that you actually were considering a way of putting pressure against him before he gets to castle, that's a very good sign. I like that. I like the fact that that was actually the process. It's a very good sign. Queen c7, and you played king b1. Yeah, the computer doesn't like it, but it's so natural. We always want to play king b1
You know,
after
and part
castle
of the reason I
a.
did that is because of that Shanklin video. Again, I was just very hyper aware of the C pawn, and I just sometimes in Sicilians, well, often if you're just castling queenside, you want to play king b1. But I thought especially here, the queen is already on the c file. Very quickly, the rook could go to the c file, and the c pawn could be flying. I thought it was a decent move. I don't know.
Yeah, it's always a consolidation move. It's kind of making a short castling out of the queenside. um, and yeah, king b1 is just so natural. Taking the king out from this diagonal also is important in most cases. So I don't see why anyone would criticize king b1. I mean, the computer suggests bishop g5, which is fine, I guess, but I don't see much of a difference. And your opponent played a5. What do you think about this move?
Um, I think when he played a5, I was thinking to myself, this must look a little interesting to people walking by because my opponent has, pawn on a5 and h5. They're probably thinking, what opening is this? But it didn't. I didn't mind seeing it, but at the same time, it was a little bit like it gave me a lot to consider because b5 could be coming and some type of pawn storm.
Yeah, he was going for it.
Yeah, but
He
I
actually
thought
tried.
I thought I thought it just might like I had to respect it basically, but I wasn't too concerned because Black's king is still in the center of the board. I'm pretty much fully developed, and I just needed to come up with a plan on how to kind of take advantage of those things.
Yeah, that h5 determines that this king is going to be a problem for him for the rest of the game. Actually, the computer suggests something very similar that occurred during the game in the different move order because b5 is the move by the computer. And I was so mystified about noticing how much the computer dislikes h5. I mean, the fact that the computer calls b5 and a5 here, as your opponent did, I thought it was funny. I would never play b5 and a5 here. But, well, it seems like the king's position is so bad, and the fact that you can just castle kingside in any case, well, it seems to lead black to just push in everything
So it doesn't
on
like
the.
castling. What do you think about queenside castling for Black?
I would probably go
Yeah,
queenside castle.
it seems fine, right?
To be honest, I would play that. I mean, this is a permanent disadvantage. It's much easier for white to exploit the square on g5 than it's for black to exploit g4 because of your space advantage in the center. So bishop g5 might be a decent move here. But it's not the end of the world for black. It's completely possible to play, and it's not lost at all. It's a bit uncomfortable. Like I have
Because
to.
that's what I would play as black. I'd probably queenside castle.
Yeah, I think it's the same option going for a5 and b5. I was mystified that the computer suggested b5 and a5. I mean, the computer says a5 is not the best move in the position and actually suggests b5 first for some reason. But the idea of your opponent was spot on if we think in terms of plan. At least from a computer point of view, I still like casting queenside. It's the human option. I would never leave the king so in so much trouble on the you play 95. Okay, I guess. Bishop g5, it seems like it was the other option, but I don't see much of a difference there. Maybe bishop g5 threatens to take on f6. I'm not so sure about that. But it could be.
I might have been possibly thinking of of black's two options of knight d5 and possibly knight g4. I didn't see what I'm gaining there. So if bishop g5, knight, so bishop g5, or like if here, like I'm not really sure. I wasn't sure what I'm achieving with bishop g5.
Well, now I guess you can take advantage of the position of the black king on the center. He has to be aware of the of c4 and d5, I guess. This could be a bit awkward for him. Maybe c4.
What about knight c4 maybe? Or knight f4?
Knight f4. I was thinking of trading and then d5.
Yeah. Well, okay. Yeah.
Blowing the center open.
Okay.
Could be. Yes, he has to be careful with that on e8. At any point, this sort of thing can happen.
What about instead of knight d5, knight g4?
Knight g4. I'm still liking d5. I still like d5.
Those are the hardest moves for me to find, like these type of pawn moves.
Yeah, I'm just trying to blow everything open if it's possible at all.
Okay,
if you
so
get
c
to open
takes,
a d5, then c
and then
takes.
rook takes. Is that what you want? Ooh, that's scary for me. It's scary for me as white.
Oh, well, you're actually achieving a lot here, I guess. And there are no serious threats down the c5. And you're actually threatening to play queen b5, possibly. I mean, he still has king f8, I'm not so sure. But I think he's facing further problems with his king. And I don't see how to attack. Yeah, I would enjoy this as white. I think it's a good turn of events for you. The king is just a little bit more open than it was a few moves before.
I think I find it a little risky. Also, when I can't really visualize too deeply, accurately. That's just so basically with bishop g5, when I kind of look a few, like 2 or 3 moves after, and I'm not seeing a benefit, I kind of abandon it.
Yeah.
I might just not be looking deep enough.
Yeah, bishop g5. Well, uh, considering it in abstract, it's a reasonable move. You're occupying the g5 spot, which is a good square for you with a piece. It could be the knight, it could be the bishop. Difficult to choose one. At this point, the knight doesn't make that much sense because you don't have additional resource to put pressure on him as you did a few before that. You have knight on g3 that was jumping to f5 and create a lot of threats. So bishop g5 looks good. Then next you're going to play knight e5 and he has to be careful too because that king on e8, the king on e8 can be a nuisance. Maybe the idea of bishop g5, now I'm thinking about it, that it's not so easy to play b5 because then you can take on f6. After g takes, d5 could be a problem for you. And this king has never been more unsafe than it. uh, yeah, if you get to open the d5, you get to open the position a little bit, then his king is going to be in much worse shape than yours. So that might be the problem for black after bishop g5. The computer, uh, the computer really likes this bishop g5. Still, I think you played with energy here. 95 is a very reasonable move. I like to see that one, even though computer says it's not best. But yeah, bishop g5, that might be the thing. You're actually fighting for d5. You want to take on f6 and go d5 and blast everything open and take advantage of the position of the king on e8. I didn't see it that way uh, before going through the concrete variations, but knight e5 is also reasonable. He played b5, continued with his idea, and now you played f3. Yeah, I wanted to know what that f3 about.
I think there was not a whole lot more to it other than slowing down his pawn advance of g of oh sorry, what? I played f3? You mean c3?
Yeah,
f3?
no, f3, this one.
Okay. I thought you were saying c3. I played f3. Okay, well, I mean it must be to prevent this. So maybe I was scared of I couldn't have been scared of this. It couldn't have been that. Let me think. Whoops. I must have had a reason. Because I'm not playing a move like that without a reason.
Maybe you wanted to go g4.
G4, G5.
Yeah, could that be that? Even g6. I'm sorry, the arrows went crazy. Yeah. um, but yeah, f3 is the move you made here. Well, you have moves. Rook h1, perfectly fine. G4 right away was very pawn sacrifice. If he goes h takes g4, knight takes g4, then again you're opening up the position, favors you, even though it's not good for you from a pure pawn structure perspective because you get two weaknesses. The important thing here is to blast the position open for the king on e8 to be uncovered. He gets to play bishop takes e5, d takes c, and knight takes g4. And this is very interesting because you're pawn down, but you have some initiative, maybe even more than some initiative for the pawn. You're actually getting a rook to this seat. It's interesting. It's not winning or anything like it, but it was something to consider. If you don't want to make a perfectly sound, but a more normal move like H1.
I'm a little surprised that I played f3 here. It must have been to play g4.
Yeah, most I guess
But
most
I mean,
like
because when I was looking at the position, I was just naturally now just looking like rook e1.
yeah.
Because that seemed like the most natural looking move. Possibly, well, we can't take there because the queen can take.
Yeah, but it's something that it's always in the air. Something he has to consider pretty much every move. Your plan must be rook h1, b5, maybe f4, f5. If he doesn't make a decision about the position of his king, you can throw everything. And yeah, those were the options, I guess. F3, well, it might be a little bit of loss of time because I wanted to play g4, maybe you couldn't even do it right away. He followed his pawn, so he keeps pushing. And well, now that you played f3, you really had to play g4. You played queen c4.
Yeah, I remember. And I think I remember during the game. I remember when he played. Oh, sorry, can you move ahead?
I'm sorry,
um,
before. Yeah.
I remember when he played it. I was like, "Wow, you blundered. You just gave me this pawn." And I thought this was like I thought this was just a huge blunder. And in fact, the whole game, even when we analyzed it after, I kind of mentioned that to him. But then I think when it came home, Stockfish said that black is okay here. That I could be wrong, but that this is actually not a problem for black. But I remember at the time I was very happy here.
Yeah, yeah. The problem is that uh, you're spending a lot of time here just to take this pawn, and the thing is, these two are going to contain this three for a very long. And after queen side, as it happened in the game, he gets 95 in. The knight on c6 that you're going to get is a little bit missing. And he gets to bring a rook to the c5. So, yeah, he's going to be a pawn down, but he compensation because of the open c5, semi-open c5, and a very big fight. So you're not going to be able to take advantage of that pawn in the immediate future, and he might get to make a lot of nasty threats on the queen side. So yeah, there's a lot of compensation for that pawn, I guess. Even though he didn't play the best, he should have gone for kingside castle, even though it looks scary. You have to play g4. But then again, 95 is the human thing to do. And now you followed your idea and took on c6. Actually, g4 is the suggested move here because your idea is to open up position and attack the king, not trading queens here. Even if you're winning a pawn, queen takes, knight takes, and now you could be in some kind of trouble here if you found the right move.
Yeah, and then I think was it this game when I started to panic. um,
Could be. Yeah, there's a problem here.
hang on. Was it C6?
F6.
F6, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, F6 is a problem. He's
Yeah, I think
threatening
I
you.
had a mini heart attack here because I thought, oh my god, yeah. But he didn't play that as far as I remember.
No, he
But
didn't.
I don't see anything wrong with F6. F6 just looks like it's winning, right? Did I
Actually,
blunder here?
you sort of you're going to get you're going to suffer here, but you're not losing the piece. That's a good news. To play
I was just
c4,
about to say, yeah, possibly
you have
c4.
this resource, even though it's not good for how to go c4 here, and he gets a better endgame. In the end, he gets a huge king on d5. Yeah, that's a huge king.
Yeah,
He has a better. Your king is in trouble
yeah.
because that king is still in trouble. He might be technically winning. I'm sorry. It's far from winning. I mean, he still has to play very well to win this, but he's clearly better.
I remember that
Basically,
position, and just I couldn't believe that I overlooked f6. I think I was
f6.
too pawn happy. Like I was too happy that I was winning a pawn there, um, and like that's such a amateurish mistake to make. That no escape route, but I couldn't believe it, and I didn't see it at first. Like after I took the pawn here, um,
You couldn't believe that it was trapped on c6. Sometimes it happens.
yeah, well,
So weird.
because I didn't see it at first. I saw it maybe like 1 or 2 minutes later, and then I thought, oh my god, he could just play f6, and shortly, like I was panicking for a little bit, but then he made his move not too long after, so I didn't have to sweat too long. But yeah, I got lucky there, 100%.
Yeah, what's interesting about this is after shortcutting, he's not worse. I mean, he's a pound down, but he has a lot of compensation. He's now the minority with these two
Hmm.
against this. And your king is on that side of the board. It's
Yeah.
not feasible that you play c that easily. And you still have to solve this knight. You actually came back very quick. I guess you meant look, FCA, he actually has compensation. Even taking, this is interesting, even taking on e5 and playing rook fc8 gives him compensation. He's going to gang up on this pawn. He's a pawn down, of course, so you're not worse, but this is very easy to play as black, and you can take advantage of the extra pawn. And he has the better minor piece because this knight d5 is an absolute monster, so he's doing fine here. I don't believe that you're actually any better, even though your opponent. So rook fc8, and now g4. Now you're trying to open up the position on the king side. Well, it's not the same without the queens, but I guess
He
you
he
have
was
to
he,
do.
by the way, he was terrified of this. Because
Okay,
yeah,
that's
because
good.
when I played G4, he was like, yep, and he's like, and he was really sweating, and he was terrified of my counterattack here. And then, if I remember correctly, I think instead of continuing with his attack, I think he kind of did a bit of both, which is like the last thing you want to do. I might be remembering wrong, but I think he defended a little bit and attacked a little bit instead of just doing one or the other.
Well, he kept throwing everything at you for
Okay.
this. Uh, I think a good practical choice is bishop takes e5. Refuses any kind of attack, and rook c4. And you start threatening the pawn inside. And as I said, yeah, you're still pawn up, but he has the better pieces, and you can really take advantage of the extra pawn. So he has a lot of compensation here. And I guess it's even easier to play as black. But well, he kept going at it. A4, H5, E3, which wasn't the best apparently. And you actually had a very natural here. You played C take, which was inevitable, A take, and now you played A3. Which I didn't like. It looks like you have to take the pawn. It's very difficult to take this pawn. I know you want to cover your king, The thing is that that pawn on b3 is very annoying, and it looks so scary to have that on b3 in the vicinity of your king.
I gave, I think I gave, I think I could be wrong, but I think I gave strong consideration to king a1.
At this point,
Oh wait,
no.
sorry. Was it here? Um, no, no, I must be thinking of something else.
Moves later move. Yeah. You could take and then the from the side, rook h3, for example, so that if he wants to take back on b3, you're telling him, well, you have to change at least a couple of rooks and leave my king alone. uh, that might be an easier solution because that pawn on b3 is, that looks scary. uh, he played well here. He kicked your knight back. That's 93. And now he made a very strange move, which I really didn't understand. He played knight b6. Well, it's sort of understandable. He wants to go to c4 probably, but still, it's a very strange maneuver for such a great knight. Knight's doing very well on defense.
I'm thinking maybe, yeah. I was thinking possibly, yeah, same thing, same idea of a4 and possibly, well, not taking here directly, but if the knight isn't here, maybe taking.
Yeah, he wanted to take the knight closer to the king, probably, but still, it's a very strange maneuver for such a great piece. Uh, he could have put some difficulty for you with rook a4, for example, just threatening to take on d4. And it's starting to look a little bit awkward, actually, for white.
Knight c1.
c1 might be. And now at least he can start recovering some material because he's going to take fortune. Yeah, probably he had to go for this. I'm liking black at this point, even though it's a mess, to admit. But he had to go for something like this, I guess. Knight b6, it gives you some time to neutralize his attacking options, which were very good with the pawn on b3. What do you think you should have played?
Him, black?
No, it's your turn now.
Yeah. I'm guessing I played knight c1 in the game,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. I think I just I I think if I pushed h6 that it's not enough. For example, I thought he could just play g6. So I wanted to go after that b3 pawn.
And that's why you play
Almost wonder
Nancy Ward.
about possibly g5 and opening up the g file and getting at his king. That might have been an option, g5. But I was also feeling a bit uneasy here, and I kind of wanted to I wanted to put pressure on this pawn and kind of get that off the board. But yeah, g5 might have been an option here.
Yeah, it makes J5 makes sense. India trying to open the position of king. That makes sense. I mean, or either you counterattack or you try to neutralize him on the queen side. So yeah, g5 might be an option, which requires, of course, a lot of analysis. It's difficult to say in abstract if it works or if it doesn't, but it looks like a serious option at the very. Um, I'm more for the simpler solution. I like before. I really, really want to trade that bishop and forget about any kind of sacrifices. Um, I want to attack the pawn on b3 from the side. I don't know if it's the best move, but at least it looks like a good practical choice. Um, if you get rid of this bishop, I don't think his attack is going to be great. Well, if he trades, you take back with the knight, and he doesn't get to play either. So I like bishop before. The move from the computer is rook h3 here. Maybe with
Double up on
some.
h1.
Yeah, well, it might be a multi-purpose move because you can double up, or you can use this rook on the third file and maybe even take, which would be great because then you wouldn't be subject to an attack on the open b file after you take pawn 3, which kind of happened in game. Because that's another problem of just taking with the knight on b3, then you're going to be uh, in some sort of trouble because of the open b file. So it takes time, and it also
Oh yeah, I remember
it's a
now.
bit
I remember.
dangerous.
I kind of starting to remember the game a little bit. He gave me a lot of headache. He made me work for the win. I remember that. He put a lot of pressure on me. He put a lot of pressure on me. I'm remembering the game now. Like he definitely made me work for it.
Yeah, he actually defended very well because it looked very scary at some point. uh, he played e5 here, and knight c4 might be better. Just knight c4 easily take on b3 because of rook b1 probably. And yeah, that looks very scary for you because all of his pieces are looking at your king. So yeah, maybe knight c4, and it's not easy to take on b3. So he played e5. I don't really understand. You took, he took, and you took on b3 here with brave.
No, I was happy to do it. I would have. I had no other choice in my mind. I wanted that
Oh,
pawn.
okay.
Yeah, I would have taken it every like day and night. Yeah.
No way you were going to put up with this opponent.
No.
Yeah,
And when I played
you
the
can
knight
go.
c1, I played that pretty quickly too. I was very happy to take out that pawn.
Actually, there's a tactic here for black, which puts a lot of difficulties in the conversion of the advantage. He played knight c4, and you defended very well at this point onwards. But he has a tactic here. It's not winning, but he's putting up a very good fight.
It seems a little slow, but I'm almost looking at putting a rook on b8 so that you can then play knight c4.
Yeah, it still might be very much like the game because in the game he played knight c4, you went bishop c1, rook cb8, and then king h. So it might end up in a very similar position. So you can defend in that case. You go bishop c1, king a2, maybe rook 3, instead of king a2, and you kind of have a fortress there. um, Even though all his pieces are looking at your queen side, it doesn't seem to be enough. You're defending there. But he could play bishop takes b2, which might come as a surprise. But it was actually possible. What's happening here?
Oh, he's gonna double up on the a3 pawn. So
Yeah,
king takes and then knight c4 and then yeah.
yeah, knight c4. If you go to the a file, then well, you're going to lose because rook takes a3, and then the knight is called, and your king is in a great situation there. You have to go to the c file, and now you're subject to a double attack. King d3 probably.
Yeah.
Or
He gets the
well, you
exchange back.
yeah. If king b2, you can still play king b2.
What if he just repeats knight c4?
Yeah, he gets to repeat. That might be a nice logical conclusion to this game because it looks very risky to just go out into the open with your king. Knight takes rook, rook takes a3.
I
Um,
I might actually go for that though. It'd be a tough choice, but I might actually go for this.
yeah, it's probably a draw if
Mm.
well played because the rooks are so active that they are at least equal in decision to the two pieces. Uh, that's a not material relation because sometimes the two pieces are just way superior, especially in the middle game where minor pieces are just so much useful than the rook because there are not so many open files. But in the end games, things change a little bit, and if the rooks are active, they can be a very scary pair. For example, a variation like might give you some hit. He's actually setting your bounce. It's all kind of shaky. Maybe it ends position anyway by rook g1, rook 3, rook b1, a4, and and something like that. Uh, but it was an opportunity for to clarify the situation and actually make something out of him. I think for either natural that
Mm-hmm.
it makes sense, but you defended very well here on walls. Bishop c1 defends everything. That's great. Rook cba. It's understandable that he kind of had faith in this because it looks scary. All of his pieces are looking at you. It's not enough.
Yeah,
Could be
I
very.
remember I was surprised. I was like, no, but I was surprised because it's like, what? I've got two connected passed pawns. How come you're giving me so much trouble? How are you giving me so much trouble? I thought I was done with this for a long time ago. Like I was ready to like finish the game and I couldn't believe he keeps coming at me and I was surprised he could give me so much trouble with, I've got two pawns. He's got no pawns here. And I was really surprised.
Yeah, he's so active here. You,
Yeah.
you still have to be patient. Difficult. For example, you play 94 here, which actually gives him an extra chance. Rook d3 or rook h3, followed by rook d3. You still have some work to do here. You still have to untangle, so to speak. It's not easy. Maybe you can go rook d3 and rook hd1, and you might want to trade at least a pair of two to give you some relief. If you get to trade at least a couple of pieces, then you're going to be more easily. Uh, 94 hasty. He played rook a6, which doesn't change anything. but he could have played knight takes a3, and he gets a pawn back. And pawn takes, what would you play here, Black? How do you take on d4?
I'm just making sure that's not a trick question first and looking for a different move.
Oh yeah, you take on d4. It's just that one of the options is better than the other.
Yeah. Oh. Oh, but that we covered. Hang on. I don't know. I'm leaning towards taking it with the bishop so that I can keep pressure on the king in the corner.
Yeah, that's right. You don't want to exchange a couple of rooks here because you're still bound down with actually keeps both rooks. The king is still in some sort of trouble. You can't take the bishop out of c1 because you're defending b2. Well, no problem actually. You can't get rid of a pin. Instead, if you take, I'm sorry, if you take here with the rook, actually white is very relieved to see that gets to trade a couple of rooks, then play rook d1, and the a pawn is going to start advancing very soon. And you have all of the sudden white has active pieces just like that, and this extra pawn on the a5 is going to start making the difference. So yeah, in this position, bishop takes 4, keeps all the tension, and the white's king is still cut, and you have both rooks over the board. So you can create a lot of trouble with black here. Next, you're going to play bishop e5. You can either threatening white pawn. So yeah, you have a lot of counterplay here, and the a pawn in this variation is not relevant. uh, Big difference actually if you take with the bishop order. He played the rook a6, which didn't take advantage of your knight 4, and now everything is final again for you. You played knight c2, knight defended, rook b8, b3, and now you start pushing him back.
Yeah.
Before
I'm finally
knight
feeling
c6.
good now.
Yeah.
I needed that breathing room.
Well, he actually went for the crazy knight c3 check, which just lets you exchange all the right pieces. Rook c8, rook f3, rook a6, rook d2. And the computer says there are many inaccuracies still. It doesn't change the essence of what happened next, I believe. It started pushing your pawns, and as far as I saw, there was no way of putting up with those pawns at this point. Rook d8, king h7, a7.
But
It's
yeah, if you go
just
back
lost.
a few moves, I was actually giving decent consideration. Well, not that far, but I can't go forward. Can you go forward here?
Forward,
Yeah.
a5.
Yeah, keep going.
Bishop c3.
Yeah, here I think. No, yeah. Before this, I gave good consideration to a7.
Yeah. Still, I think you played the best move.
Yeah. But I was thinking about a7, but it didn't really seem to make sense. But I considered it.
I remember very well Uh, I was a kid. I was playing in a tournament in my country, and I was playing against an elder man, and well, I was a rook up, and I was going to promote. Let's move. He threatened my rook, and I just promoted anyway. Took my rook, and game followed for a few moves, for a few more moves, and then he resigned. And there, a very respected player in our club, a very strong player, came to our board, and he told me, "It's true that you're winning, but there's no way it makes sense to just give up the whole rook if you can keep the rook and promote to a queen. You're going to win faster,
Yeah.
and you take no risk whatsoever." And that kind of stuck with me. So yeah, greed is
Yeah,
the
greed is
right
good.
policy. Yeah, you don't have to give him the rook. It's your rook, not his.
By the way, I want to tell you and everyone in the stream, I forgot this happened until just now, but in this game, a very funny thing happened. So if we just go to the next move, can you just go to the next move?
Bishop takes.
And then again. Okay, so here I queen, right? And I put the queen on, and then I'm just starting to write my move down, and then my opponent, again, he's an older man, and we were talking a bit before the game, but he reaches and I see him like moving, and I look at him. He's holding a knight, and he gives me a look like that, and he was like you don't want knight. He you don't want to queen, you don't want to promote your knight, and I don't know. I thought it was very funny, and it showed that he had no hard feelings about it. But it was I don't know, the way he did it was really funny. Like you sure you don't want to promote your knight? You want a queen? Yeah, it was very funny. Yeah.
That chance he could dominate the knight or I guess that I gonna. Well, it was a very rich game, because yeah, it's kind of in sync with your game with Nicolas Paychan.
And they're both 1,000. He was rated 1,000.
But he plays better than 1,000.
But the thing is, he's not a kid, right? He's not an underrated kid. He's yeah. He's an established 1,000.
That's incredible. I mean,
but he did gain. He's now over 12. He's like 12-10 or something. He gained 200 points in this tournament. So
yeah, it makes sense. As long as he keeps playing, he's not going to stay there. He made a lot of very reasonable moves. He had a plan. He didn't just hang everything. So yeah, he's not a 1,000. Not at all. Yeah, here you had an opportunity to take advantage. I really like the fact, Tommy, that you were considering playing knight g5 and putting pressure on him, and that, well, you couldn't see an advantage to it, but you kind of sensed that something was going on, and that's good. That's very important. Otherwise, you just play automatically here on knight e4, and that's it. I like the fact that you didn't. I like that you put some thought on this position, that you understood that it was an important one, because your opponent is just about to finish development in a couple of moves. So that's a good omen. Well, a lot of things happened during the game. His attack looked very scary at some point on the queen side, but you defended very well.
I was surprised. I was surprised he had that much. Again, having two connected pawns, and he doesn't have any pawns, and I was really surprised he gave me as much trouble as he did. So
yeah, this activity is important. Even though he didn't have a queen, he was still putting up very stiff resistance with pieces. Yeah,
I was very surprised.
So yeah, we only have one more game next time.
Two more.
No, I'm sorry, two more, because this was. I was thinking about the decisive game. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because the next game was that game that, as you know, I was terrified to play this guy for good
Yeah.
reason, and that was actually a very interesting game. And I analyzed the game with him after, so I can give some of his thought process as well. And then after that game, I just played absolutely terribly because I was in a bad frame of mind in game 6. But we
Yeah,
can,
see, I already forgot.
uh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it happens.
Game 6, I was ready to go home. Plus, I was, I was also, excuse me, I was also kind of frustrated that yet again I'm playing an insanely underrated player. He was like 900 in the last game, but he was
Yeah.
extremely strong. He's in fact I think he gave well. I had more trouble in the last game than I did game 5
In
because
the
game
previous
5
one, yeah.
yeah because game 5 I was surprised that his opening was actually pretty bad. Like he got me later on with some tactics, but his opening was actually pretty terrible
Yeah, yeah, he actually got off very well
because he played like
from the
he
opening.
played like
Yeah.
A3 H3, which were terrible. I feel, but yeah, we can look at those next lesson. So I'm 1 month away from the next tournament, so um, we still have lots of time to look over those next games.
Nice.
Yeah. When's your next tournament?
Um, Let me see. It's not this weekend. No, it's not this weekend.
Yeah.
It's the next. It's the next one. It's just 2 days. It's in Buenos Aires,
Okay.
so I'm 1,000 kilometers from Buenos Aires,
You're
and yeah,
flying, right?
I still don't know.
Mm.
I have to get the tickets because it's a team tournament, and we're kind of there's a sponsor, so we are going with
Oh, okay.
expenses covered, thank
Nice.
God. And yeah, it's actually a pretty strong tournament because there are many teams with grandmasters and international masters, so it's going to be tough.
But that tournament is you're not eligible for a norm in that tournament, right? It's too short.
No, yeah, it's too short.
Mm.
It's actually a rapid
Oh,
tournament,
okay.
which I didn't know
Mm.
until a couple of days
Like 30 minutes.
before today. It's going to be 25 plus 10, I think.
Okay.
10 of increment, yeah. Which I don't know, but well, I guess it's fine.
Do you have an
I
active
still,
rating?
yeah, it was on 2400, but
Mm.
I played tournament this weekend and I dropped some points, so I'm going to be just below 2400 rapid.
So,
So, well,
so if it's a rapid tournament, how many rounds are there?
I'm sorry, I didn't get the last part.
How many rounds are there?
I think it's going to be 6 rounds.
Oh, I
Uh,
thought there would be more because it's only 30-minute games, but I guess
yeah,
three games. Okay, 3 games per day.
yeah, 3 games per day. It's going to be very,
Mm.
very relaxed, I
Mm.
guess. Still, I don't have all the details. It might be 7 and for the first game, the first day, and 3 the next one, so everyone gets to go home earlier.
Mm.
But I'm not so sure at this point.
Mm.
Uh, in fact, I wasn't going just a few days ago. I wasn't sure I was going, so I'm just I'm just getting all the information as we speak,
Mm. Mm. Mm.
basically. Uh, so yeah,
Yeah. Well, good. Yeah.
that's
Good luck in that
crazy.
upcoming tournament. You always have a tournament right before I do. It's kind of funny.
I- yeah.
But
When is your
yeah,
next
it's
tournament?
April 10th, so it's the Easter weekend,
Okay,
and
yeah.
it's a 4-day tournament. Actually,
Oh, this is
in
nice.
2012, Nakamura won it.
Ah,
Yeah,
wow. What
yeah.
what tournament is that
It's
one?
the Grand Pacific Open, um, but Hikaru used to live in Vancouver, which is not too far from me. So he played in that one, and cleaned up. But it's a really nice tournament. There's the TV screen set up. There's one grandmaster. Last year there were two grandmasters, a handful of FMs and NMs. There's 4 sections, and I think maybe it might be the turnout might be a little bit less this year because of the COVID-19, but I think we might maybe getting close to 200 players in that one.
Wow.
And it's a really nice venue. It's my favorite tournament of the year. So.
It's great to play in a venue like that. Wow.
Yeah. It's right in the downtown Victoria. Very beautiful, right on the waterfront. It's very nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's not every day that you play in the tournament. You have to make the most of it.
Yeah. And it's pretty relaxed. It's a 6-rounder in 4 days. So 1 round first day, and then 2 rounds on middle days, and then 1 round last day.
You have a lot of time to prepare for the games.
Yeah, I'm hoping I do well in that
nice
one,
series.
because that's my favorite one, and they have it's one of the rare tournaments here that they have trophies. Because personally, I would actually rather win a trophy than the prize money, just because it's nice to have a trophy, right?
It's all prize money there.
Sorry.
There are usually no trophies.
Oh yeah, there's usually no trophies. Yeah, I know in America they've got like these huge trophies. Here we almost never have trophies, even for the big tournaments like the Provincial Open. There's no trophies. It's
only
normally
prize money.
Yeah, it's prize money. Yeah. But yeah, we'll see what happens. But thank you again for the lesson. I look forward to the next one.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
See
thank
you,
you.
Tyler.
Bye.